Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to all my students taking business research. Your final exam, just to remind everyone, your final exam will be this coming Saturday afternoon. Now, before I proceed with what I want to say in this video clip, I would like to correct a mistake that I made in the previous clip. In the previous clip, I said that the section A, there are 40 fill in the blanks questions, but actually one of you pointed out to me, right, that in my previous posting in voice, that the fill in the blank questions, actually there's only 30, which is correct. So just to correct what I said in the previous clip, that there are only 30 fill in the blank questions. Now for this video clip, I would like to concentrate on helping you to prepare yourself for the essay questions. For the essay questions, you are given three questions. You are supposed to answer only two. So you choose which of the two that you feel most comfortable trying to answer. Now for the essay questions, before I begin talking about the topics that you are supposed to prepare yourself with, I would like to give you some advice. I would like to explain to you how I mark your essay questions. Now, there are three things which I will be looking for. Number one, of course, is the right answer. So if you give me the right answer, right, you will get at least 1/3 of the marks that is allocated for that question. Secondly, having given me the right answer, I would also want you to elaborate, huraikan apa yang you started saying. So you need to explain what you mean by your answer. And number three, I expect you to give examples. So if you have given me all these three things, the right answer, you elaborate, you explain what you mean, and then you give me examples of what you mean, then you will get full marks. If you don't give me all three of these, right, you will not get the full marks. So this is how I will mark the essay. Now, what I want you to concentrate on in the final exam, right, is the topic on literature review, right? Now, why do we do literature review, right? This is an important part of doing research, right? Remember that when we talk about the hypothetical-deductive process, right, the second stage of the hypothetical-deductive process is the preliminary data collection. The preliminary data gathering, though, right, what it refers to is the literature review, right? So literature review is an important aspect of doing research, right? Right at the beginning, you are supposed to do literature review. So this is one of the main topics that I would want you to concentrate on in the final exam. Now, why do we do literature review, right? There are many reasons, and I expect you to give me at least 5 reasons here. 5 reasons as to why we do literature review. Number one, as an example, number one, right, we do literature review to understand certain terminologies, right? Key definitions, right? Key words that you need to find what are the definitions for these words. In the literature review, there are lots of definitions that tells you exactly what that word means. For example, even we talk about say customer loyalty. What does loyalty means? When we talk about self-esteem, what does self-esteem mean? In the literature, right, there are many people who have written, who have done studies, and they have defined what these terms mean. So one of the reasons why you need to do literature review is to find definitions. very important for you to clarify yourself as to what these terms mean before you can proceed doing your research. Second is that literature review allows you to read what others have done, right? If you are doing research on cosmetics, right? Why do people use cosmetic, and what are the factors that influence people to buy cosmetics? In the literature, right, there are a lot of other researchers who have already done research on cosmetics, and so we get ideas from what others have done. Number two. Number three, right? One of the reasons why we do literature review is to identify variables, right? Variables, dependent variables, and independent variables. Yeah. So in the journals, right? Researchers have already reported on what dependent variables they have chosen for their research, as well as what are the factors, which is the independent variables that influences the dependent variables. So to get ideas as to how to formulate your theoretical framework, you do literature review to actually identify the independent variables and the dependent variables. Another reason why you do literature review. Then for another reason why you do literature review is to limit the scope of your study. For example, let's say you want to do a study on factors influencing people to take up sports. Yeah. So sports is actually a very broad topic. It's a very broad topic. Sports can be anything, right? Even boxing is sports. Even ballroom dancing is sports, right? Synchronized swimming is sports. So sometimes when we look at all these different sport activities, right, it's very difficult for us to figure out, right, why is ballroom dancing can be considered a sport? Why is boxing considered a sport when two people hitting each other in the face and causing brain damage is considered a sport? So we go into we do literature review to actually find out, right, as to how you define and you say that this is sports and this is not sports. Yeah. Now, also, for example, in the literature, you can find the categories. Or, for example, when we talk about sports, yeah, there is such thing as competitive sports, yeah, and then we have recreational sports, right? For example, in the literature, therefore, you can decide then to say, well, I want to do a research on just recreational sport instead of to do research on sports in general. Yeah. Therefore, literature review helps you to understand what and define what your topic is, and then within that topic, we can divide the topic into smaller subtopics, and then we decide which of the subtopics that we want to actually do research on. Yeah. So, for example, some of you have done research on cosmetic, right? You started off with cosmetic, and then you decide to do on just cosmetic surgery. Some of you decide to do on hair grooming, right? Some of you decide to do on whitening lotion. Yeah. And some of you who are doing your research on exercise. Some of you decided to focus only on yoga. Some of you decided to focus on aerobics. Some of you focus on just jogging. So when we do literature review, we find what are the different subtopics within the scope of exercise, within the scope of cosmetic, within the scope of social network, right? So we zoom in on one particular aspect. So this is the reason why we do literature review, is to define the scope of our research. Now, also in literature review, we can learn about how people do their research. Yeah. So we look at the part on research design and see how others, how experts, how professors do their research in terms of the technique in which they implement their research. So we can learn from that through literature review. And when you read up, yeah, on literature of your topics, you will find that a lot of topics that we want to do research on, there is always one or two or a few gurus, right, who are considered the experts among the community of researchers who do research on a particular subject. Yeah, right. There are gurus whereby if you look at the literature, a lot of the articles keep on referring to this person, always refer to this person, right? In my area of expertise, for example, on entrepreneurship, the person who all people always refer to is Saraswati. So a lot of articles that is written about entrepreneurship, right? There is always mention about Professor Saraswati. So she is the guru of entrepreneurship. Therefore, you must quote from the gurus, right, to show that you have already understood what the gurus of that particular research area is saying about that research. Okay, you can also learn from literature review, right, the gaps in knowledge. I mean, what have people already found out about that topic, yeah, about that phenomena, and what are other things within that area that people are still debating. They don't know what is the answer to these questions. Yeah, so this is what we call gaps in knowledge, right? So this is also one of the things that we do in literature review, to find out what is known and what people say that they still need to research to be done to understand this aspect of that particular topic. Yeah, and also we can do literature review to justify, to find ideas as to why we need to justify doing that particular research. That if you read the articles in a particular topic, yeah, all the articles will justify why they are doing that research. Yeah, and we can actually use their justification for our research. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to think about when we say why do we do literature review. Another topic that is important for you to take note here is the hypothetical deductive process, right? The hypothetical deductive process in research, right? There are two major categories of research. One we call quantitative, the other one we call qualitative. Yeah, and most of the time when we do quantitative, we follow what we call the hypothetical deductive process. Yeah, which is the positivist or the deductive approach to doing research. For qualitative, yeah, we don't follow the hypothetical deductive approach. There are techniques like grounded theories and case studies and so on, where there are techniques that we use for ethnography and for phenomenologies. They have different techniques to do research, right? Observation and so on. But for quantitative approach, right, the dominant technique of doing research is hypothetical deductive approach. Now, you need to be able to memorize, right, the steps, the process of the hypothetical deductive approach, right? Because this is part of what you need to prepare yourself for the final exam. Now, if you forget, right? If you forget exactly the hypothetical deductive approach, the assignment that we have done, right? The assignment that you should have done follows that hypothetical deductive approach. But let me give you the 7 steps here to hypothetical deductive process. Now, the first is observation, right? The first is observation. We observe a phenomena, right? We observe a phenomena. A phenomena, by definition of phenomena, means awareness, right? Awareness, being conscious of something that happened around you. So that would be the first step in doing a research, to be aware of a phenomena that is happening around us. Now, and this awareness though must come with issues, right? Issues, meaning to say that the phenomena that we see in front of us, that we observe, right? People have differences of opinion as to why it happens, right? For example, road accidents, amongst bus drivers, buses, long haul buses, right? Always meet up with accidents. People have different opinions as to why there are accidents. These accidents happen. Some people say because the drivers are sleepy, right? They are tired, they are sleepy. Therefore, when they fall asleep, they lose control of the bus and accidents happen. Some other people say that they drive too fast, right? It's not that they're sleepy, but they are driving too fast. Therefore, the bus lose control, right? The bus driver lose control because they're driving faster than they should. That is opinion number 2. Opinion number 3, people say that these bus drivers are sleepy, but then because they are sleepy, they drink Red Bull, they drink all kinds of energy drinks, and they drink too much of these energy drinks. They get hyper, and when they get hyper, they lose control of their capacity to drive well. So the point I'm making is that when we talk about observation, right, we must observe the phenomena, plus we need to identify what are the issues. Issues meaning that there are conflicting opinions as to why something happens. Then that makes for a good topic for research, because since one person say this is right, another person no, I am right, no, another person no, I think this is the reason why, right? So to solve the problem as to who is right, we do research, right? We collect data, right? We collect evidence, empirical evidence, and once and for all, we find out who is correct. Yeah. So that would be the first step to a hypothetical deductive approach, which is observation. Once you've done observation, we understand that there is a potential to do research. Second step is to do preliminary study, right? Preliminary data gathering is actually your literature review. So I've already talked about literature review. I don't need to say more. Once you've done your literature review, you have already identified the dependent variables, the independent variables, and so you can come up with your theoretical framework, right? After you've done your preliminary study, right, the third step, you already found out all the variables. You can now, third step is the theory formulation. Whereby you draw the theoretical framework, the bubbles, the independent variables, arrow, dependent variables, to show what are the factors, right, influencing the dependent variable. And from there, you can start writing your research problem, and then your research question, and then your research objective. Yeah. So the third step is theory formulation, which is to come up with your theoretical framework. Now, theoretical framework is a way of saying what are we going to do for our research. What is our research about? Then, once we have our theoretical framework, the next step is to look at the arrows between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Fourth step is the hypothesis statements. So we outline what is the hypothesis that we are going to test, right? So the hypothesis is always the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Independent variable, dependent variable. And your hypothesis will always have two statements. One, the null hypothesis, right? There is no relationship between self-image and use of Facebook. Then the alternate hypothesis is there is a relationship between self-image and use of Facebook, right? So fourth step is to formulate your hypothesis, that you are going to test once you have collected your data. The fifth step is to collect your data, right? You come up with your questionnaire, you do your observation, you do your interviews, right? You collect your data. That is step number 5. Step number 6 is to do the data analysis, right? Now, data analysis depends on the data you collect. If you collect ratio data, you can do Pearson product moment correlation. If your data that you collect is nominal and nominal, you do chi-squared, right? So So depends on the data that you collect, right? You will do either Pearson correlation, Spearman, t-test, ANOVA, chi-squared. It depends. Regression, yeah. But it depends on the research question. It depends on the hypothesis that you're doing. It depends on the data that you have collected. Okay. So once you've done your data analysis, check what is your p-value. Right? Remember, if the p-value is less than 0.05, then you reject the null. If the p-value is greater than 0.05, you fail to reject the null hypothesis. Something very similar to what you have studied in statistics. Yeah. Now, when you reject the null hypothesis, therefore, what is left is your alternate hypothesis, which is there is a relationship between your independent variable and your dependent variable. Therefore, the arrow is significant. Right? The arrow is significant. And lastly, your conclusion, right, as to what you have, the data is telling you about your theoretical framework. Maybe you had 5, maybe you had 7 independent variables, but after you've done your data analysis, only 4 you managed to reject the null, and therefore these are the only 4 of the independent variables that influences your dependent variable. So that is your conclusion. And then for each one of the 4 that is significant, you will then have to explain why do you think it's significant again, right? So these are the 7 steps to the hypothetical deductive approach. Lastly, before I stop, one of the important topics that you need to prepare yourself for the final exam is qualitative research, right? What is qualitative research? Why is qualitative research different from quantitative research? Yeah, what are the unique characteristic of qualitative research, which is not the same as quantitative? But basically, what are the unique qualities of qualitative research? Qualitative. Now, when we talk about quantitative, you're talking about quantity. Meaning to say, remember, when we do hypothetical deductive approach and we are doing quantitative, quantitative research, we are always asking how much, how few, right? Totally agree, totally disagree, right? We are asking how much is your salary per month? How many children do you have? So we are always asking how much, how much, how much. So that is what we call quantitative. We are trying to quantify. If we are saying, how clever are you? Then we talk about your CGPA. We calculate and you say 3.75. So that is the quantity of your intelligence, or the quantity of your performance in Unirazak. So quantitative talks about quantity. Okay, for example, if we talk about love, yeah, love. Quantitative approach talks how much are you in love or how less are you in love, right? So quantity again. But for qualitative research, we are not bothered about, we are not concerned about quantity, but we are concerned about understanding the meaning behind the ideas that you are trying to understand. Yeah, so we are not dealing with numbers, but we are dealing with words, right? We want to understand the words that describe the phenomena. Yeah, words that describe the phenomena. Now, if you are talking about quantitative, you will collect data in the form of numbers. If you are doing research on qualitative, you're going to collect words, yeah, words, pictures, right, that describe your phenomena, right? So we are going to analyze words, what people say, how they say it, yeah, in what manner they say those words, and how they express themselves in words to describe what they feel. So this is qualitative. Now in quantitative, we are doing deductive approach. Deductive approach is always to we identify a theory, and then we test the hypothesis that comes from the theory. But for qualitative, we are doing what we call inductive, not deductive, but we are doing inductive approach to research most of the time. So inductive approach, we start off by collecting data, right? Collecting data, and from the data we formulate theories, right? So it's inductive approach. And for quantitative, we always concentrate on how to develop theories that is generalizable. So we do a research in Malaysia, or we do a research in Kuala Lumpur, and we come up with a theory, and we say this theory can be applied to Johor Bahru, can be applied to Kuantan, can be applied to Melaka, can be applied to Sabah, Sarawak, it can be applied anywhere. So it is generalizable. But when we do qualitative research, right, it is what we call contextual. It is situational, which means to say that we are doing a study of a particular person who has experienced a particular thing in a particular place. So that is situational. It is within a particular context. Dalam satu keadaan, suasana, bagi satu manusia yang unik. So it is contextual. Now, when we do quantitative research, right, we are holding on to the belief of who we call positivists. Positivists believe that, right, reality and us are two separate independent things, right? We are who we are. Reality is out there, right? Reality is out there. But for qualitative research, right? We believe in that reality. We believe that reality is constructed in the mind of people, right? What is real depends on what you believe, right? If you believe in feng shui, you believe in good luck and bad luck, you believe in ghosts, you believe in the hereafter, you believe in certain things because of your religion, because of your experiences, because of what your parents taught you, and so on, that will formulate what is real to you, right? What is real to you. So in qualitative research, we want to study what is real to that particular person. Not what is real out there, but what is real inside the mind of the person who is living that experience. So this is what we call the emic view, right? The emic view, right? In qualitative research. And in qualitative research, we are always person-centered, right? Person-centered. The data that we collect is the data of the ideas and the beliefs and the experience of the person who is experiencing the phenomena. But if we are talking about quantitative approach, when we write our questionnaire, we are actually not concerned about who that person is who is answering your questionnaire, right? Most of the time, I mean almost all of the time, when you write, when you formulate your questionnaire, we never ask a question in the questionnaire, right? Write down your name, your telephone number, right? Where were you born? We are not concerned about who that person is, right? Dia punya IC number ke apa, we are not concerned. All we are concerned is the characteristic of that person, or the characteristic of people in general. But if you are talking about qualitative, you are concerned about, you are focusing on a particular person and how he or she see the world, right? Not reality out there, but reality that is created in the minds of the person that you are trying to study. So this is what we call person-centered, right? And we are interested in what we call deep information which is rich, right? We want to really understand, right, the meaning behind the experiences of those people who have experienced it. So we write essay, right? Essay to describe the feelings, the experience, the belief, the trauma that the person went through. So that is part of our output in our qualitative research, right? Now, in quantitative research, we come up with a questionnaire, right? We come up with a questionnaire. That questionnaire, right, is an external thing from us. Once we have written the questionnaire, we can get other people to distribute the questionnaire and do the analysis. But in qualitative research, you are the measurement instrument. we are the ones who actually try to understand the words that is spoken by the participant, the respondents here. So we are the instrument to capture the data, right? So this is the reason why for a person to carry out qualitative research, that person has to have certain skills, listening skills, yeah, the ability to what we call to bracket your feelings and your biasness. Yeah, the word bracket is a term that is used in qualitative research to say that whenever you go out and interview somebody, when you go out to observe a phenomena, right, you bracket your feelings, yeah, meaning to say you, if it's possible, right, for you to put aside your biasness, right, the things that you believe, the things that you think is real and so on, you push it aside and then become the researcher, right? So we don't judge the person from our point of view, but we try to be neutral. Yeah, kita try to be neutral, to be a good listener, to understand whatever that person has to say, right? So qualitative ni, right, is a struggle between constructivists and positivists. Yeah, the quantitative approach, they are positivists, right? They believe in the fact that there is only one reality and everybody share the same reality. But for a qualitative researcher, right, they believe in the fact that everybody has their own set of reality, right? What is real to you may be not real to me. What is real to me may be not real to somebody else. Yeah. For example, right, our behavior, some people's behavior, they do things because they believe that there is a hereafter. They believe that after they pass away, after they die, right, there is another life after they die. But some people, they believe that once you're dead, that's it. That's the end of your existence, right? So how these people live their lives, right, is based on their beliefs, right, and what they believe to be real, right? So this is what qualitative research tries to uncover. Yeah. Now, so basically, that is these are the three main topics that you have to prepare yourself for the final exam. Okay, so this is it for now. I hope I will have the opportunity to speak to you again, right, before the final exam this coming Saturday. I wish you all the best. Read the questions carefully. Remember my first video clip where I advise you, right, on how to answer the questions, right, which section to answer first. But it's actually up to you to decide how you're going to go about doing it. But the point is, have a strategy, because the exam is 3 hours. It's only 3 hours, and you have 4 sections, right? 4 sections. Think to yourself, 4 sections, right? 3 hours. How are you going to allocate your time, right? I believe that if you keep to a certain steady pace, you will be able to comfortably finish the exam on time. But if you hesitate, you take some time, you daydream, and you think too much as to how to answer the question, you might not be able to have enough time to answer everything, because there are quite a number of questions that require you to think. Yeah, so prepare yourself well, right? And I hope the tips that I'm giving you helps you in some way to prepare for the final exam. So that's it for me this time. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day.